We are moments away. Welcome, everybody, to the Teamfight Tactics Monsters Attack Showcase live from Alicante, Spain. From the Teamfight Tactics Dragonlance Championship. I see some familiar names we have on our screen just 3 feet away from me from South Korea. It is Bebe872. He doesn't have a headset, so he actually can hear us.
Yeah, we're just going to start. Oh, he's pulling on the headset.
Stop cheating, man. As if us talking is going to help him out whatsoever.
It's like, man, this sure is a spot here for Bebe. He could do something with it.
That's true. That's true.
That's going to be 90% of my calls, I think. The meta is the meta is currently a little infant that we're watching grow up. We have no idea what's going to happen.
All you need is to know that Bebe would level here. That is generally the assumption. You know, Bebe is one of the most watched players, especially from the fact that he is both Korean and an English streamer. He is very fluent in both. I mean, you've heard him cast in English, but of course his native language is Korean. Very strong. Starts off with the ability to go for Talon too. And Baby told me when we were going over, so it's like, wow, Talon's actually a really strong carry.
Yeah, Talon has huge damage coming into that backline, and Bebe already looking potentially with a commit, picking up the gadgetines as well. Mort, you were talking about how that was a really good early start so far.
Yeah, with the gadgetines, you get basically +1 item, and it's a more powerful version of the base item. And so that's going to allow you to sort of have that extra power up on your opponent. Plus, they're just generally flexible. Poppy is a very strong defender, which can give you that front line. But one of the big changes this set, hero augment first, right away.
Oh, all right. So the hero augments, they have different...
Not as strong at this point, would be my recommendation.
Oh, no, and then Bebe goes immediately for it. I wonder what he's up to. It could be the fact that he has a Sivir already.
Well, and we've seen a Super's reroll comp coming out into the meta at the moment that uses Sivir as a carry, so maybe he's looking towards that. And also, I gotta say, during the pause, we were seeing Bebe completely in his element, just sitting there on desk, just vibing out and dancing.
It's true. Bebe loves TFT, but he also loves singing while playing TFT. If you ever tune into his stream, sometimes he's randomly humming, slamming a static shift. He actually told me that this was core to his game plan. He wants to just play tempo. Yeah, he's not going to really re-roll. He wants to just push levels, stick to the usual trademark Bebe gameplay. And I think that style more is still very much viable, even if you're not necessarily knowing what kind of build to go for.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely viable, and especially right now, with the way that the game has changed a little bit, items are a little less powerful, and 2-star champions are a little more powerful. And the fact that he has 2-2-stars in both the Talon and the Renekton is going to give him the ability to push that tempo, and so I think that's a correct read. He also has 2 civilian, which means as long as Sivir's alive, his team is going to be generating a ton of extra mana, so that Talon's going to get a bunch of good casts. So yeah, it should be pretty strong there.
What's going on here in the bottom right?
This is cheating!
It's a TFT party, and I'm not invited.
Why can't we be? They're in Spain. I feel like we could have gotten at least a little cordial invite. They didn't know that we had to be on stage. We could have been off for the first couple games, taking a trip. But
this is so funny because the caster is right behind him, but he has a headset to listen to the game. Well, this is Revan. We've been seeing Revan compete in many TFT tournaments. It's also funny because he represents Spain here as we're doing live broadcast. What's going on with his comp, Mort?
Yeah, so he's got the Recon, which is going to give that back range some extra attack. Oh, and he's got the hero augment that gives Ezreal's neighbor an artifact, so an Ornn item. So he's going to pass that collector off to the Ashe. The Ashe is going to have the extra critical strike from the Recon, and that's pretty good. His front line's a little weak, though, and so this Ashe is going to kind of get stuck. And so that's a little unfortunate. You can see Recon allows them to roll away, but we talked about 2-stars. On the other side, there are already 3 2-stars. So that's going to be a loss for him, unfortunately.
So, Mart, looking at that hero augment, what do you think's the best unit to pair next to that Ezreal? Because you can get so many different Ornn artifacts.
Yeah, so one of the secrets of this artifact is that, a shout out to Static who worked on this, it'll actually tailor to who you put it on. So, for example, by putting it on Ashe, it's always going to give you something like Collector or Death's Dance or something that really fits. Whereas if you put it on a tank, you might get something like Zonya's or Randuin's. So the reality is you can use it on anyone. I had a game on stream yesterday where I made a Recon Bel'Veth, and that worked really well.
That sounds gross.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool ways to use it, and knowing that you kind of get something that's optimal for your team, I think, yeah. So you can see here, there's Death's Dance for Ashe, and so yeah, it's one of the more fun augments, right? Because you have to pair that, but playing it with Recon makes a ton of sense.
It does, it does. And by the way, it's 2-3. I see a Bebe at level 5. Seems like this Ashe is definitely going to go down. So from this position, I guess you can still theoretically kind of pair it with anybody. Also, I saw him holding things like Kale. That's 2 underground units, Iberia.
Yeah, I'm really hoping we get to see it. You were saying that Vault Unlock, super exciting, much like the Golden Egg of yore, and I'm really hoping we get to see a little bit of shenaniganry from that side.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like with Underground, one of the big things is if you can power level to 5 and find the Samira early, that's going to unlock the 5 Underground. And 5 Underground just gives you so many more Vault unlocks that it becomes a lot more possible to hit some of those deep cash outs. That being said, even just getting 1 or 2 of the heists is enough of an economic boost or an item boost that it can really pay off in the late game.
That's really smart. I think a lot of people look at the greed. They look at the potential more like, but if I just go 1 more Vault, I can actually win this game. But
swim around, man, one more.
Sometimes you just got to cut your losses, right? Go just 1 or 2 Vault unlocks.
Sunk cost fallacy is a lie.
I actually think a really common strategy as the game evolves is going to be put in 3 Underground, get to the second heist, cash that out, be up about 20 gold and 2 items, and then pivot to a completely different comp. So, and that actually ends up being really strong in the late game.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We're hopping on board with Kupo and trying to take a look. Star Guardians are back, Mort. They gain mana from all sources, and it also works with other combinations like Civilian to help you scale your mana. So it looks like this is a potentially really strong tree you can play around that's AP and mana sources.
Yeah, for sure. And the other fun thing is they work with like augments and items and things like that. So for example, if you get that cybernetic implants and you're playing 7 Star Guardian, you are going to be generating a ton of mana. Your Talias and Luxes and Yumis are going to be casting like crazy. So yeah, it's definitely, if you like the spellcaster comp, go that vertical Star Guardian.
Okay, one thing real quick. Mort, I know that Yumi is a big favorite for Night Fury. He talks about it all morning.
True.
Is Yumi carry viable, you think?
It is, especially if you get the hero augment. I know I saw Milk do it already once. It is definitely viable, and it's really annoying too, because he'll just sit there and like snipe your backline over and over, and you're like, why are my carries dying? And it's because they're being crit for 2,000 damage.
We were talking about that where we were theorizing a Riven composition based on my previous game where I was like, I wonder what items we should put on her. And Frodan rightly was like, well, she has no backline access, so be careful. I was like, aha! Yumi! That's the answer. That's gotta be it.
Yeah, Yumi's great. And her tags are really interesting too. Mascot being this really fun and cute trait when your mascot dies, or rather takes fatal damage. They're not dead. They're just taking a sideline. They run to the side of the board and cheer for your team and get that HP regeneration. And just a really fun little trait to splash in. But I've also seen some people play vertical mascots and have some decent success. Is that an actual build that people can also lean into more?
I think it's, it's going to get there eventually, but there's definitely some really fun mascots if you can reach the late game. Having like Alistar as your front line, and then Nunu in the end game, with Nunu being the last alive, he'll get all that health regeneration while the other mascots cheer him on, and he's just rolling the big snowball. So there's definitely some fun mascot builds out there.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Is there an easy way to tell what Malphite augment that we see? I know that he's highlighted. I know it's the hero augment, but I can't visually tell. Is there an easy indication whatsoever, Mort?
Not yet. We're working on that part. That should come in at some point. But yeah, it's definitely one of the two. You kind of have to pay attention. My guess is it's probably the support one. If we pay attention to the health, every time they cast, they'll heal up a bit. That would mean it's the support one.
Ah, okay.
Looking forward to that as we see here on Shikami Madoka's board.
Aurelian
We've got
Soul.
an A-Soul already with, it looks like, that Ezreal augment giving him a Death's Dance behind it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So the 4-cost threats particularly, if you can get them early, like Belveth or Aurelian Soul, that's a lot of power early. And again, you can just slot them in, right? Because they don't have any... Okay.
We just sold ASO. Is it? My heart hurts right now. I kind of want to see the meteor shower.
For a Lux as well.
Is this worth more?
I mean, he has got the AP item, so I don't think that was worth, but, you know, if you really want to go something like Underground or Recon, I suppose it could make sense, but,
Oh, 2 out of 3.
you know, you want to see some items slammed here and get some power on the board.
That's true. That's true. Now, admittedly, we don't really know. We're not asking like passive aggressively. Me and Iberia really don't know. As you can tell, we're casting set 7, the Dragonlance Championship. So we've been a little bit lost ourselves. And if this ends up working out for Sheikah, I think he's trying to print gold as fast as he can. It makes a lot of sense in terms of what they're trying to build together. But there's also Iberia so many unfinished traits.
Yeah, and I'm wondering where he's going to go into the later stages of the game, because we have seen some 3-star rerolls have success. You can see on Emily's board there, she was running that Vayne carry, which has been really strong, but Trade Sector might be worth it.
12 gold? Hold on. Wait, that's a lot of gold more. What's going on here?
Yeah, so some of the augments you might be familiar with have been buffed. Trade Sector Plus was one that, I think a lot of people passed on because it was a little too late to get the value. So Trade Sector Plus is a lot more gold. Instead, chooses to re-roll it here. Oh, Emily Wang has Recon Crest. Recon Crest is one of my favorite because it gives you +2 range and the ability to roll away. And I love that on like Belveth, for example, who can then slap from range. And so yes, Emily takes it, so that's going to be fun later.
Wow. All right. We'll see if Emily and Wayne can make good use of it. Looks like everyone just said, you know what? Why not just take the Ezreal augment? I think that's what, half the lobby in Iberia?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's fun. It's one of those augments. A lot of players, especially streamers, let's be honest with ourselves, if there's anything that gives them variants of a bunch of powerful items, they're going to go for it. You're not looking to get 100% first in the world. I know Emily Wang says she's going to win Worlds next set, but the set hasn't started yet, Emily. Calm down.
Well, what's really cool is now she has 4 Recon. Moore was talking about how utilizing Recon just simply for the innate ability of getting that 2 Hex range bonus would be great, but she also now unlocks critical chance on all of her units, almost basically getting like a Jewel Gauntlet.
It's really strong, and going into the later stages of the game, you're going to get so much more value the more damage you get on those units.
That's right. Now, all their abilities can critically strike. However, it's interesting to see what she uses with it. It's kind of like Swift Shot. We found some really crazy Swift Shot interactions with like Hecarim, for example, which, shout out to you, Mort. You were saying this actually very early on the set, and all the challengers were like, yeah, maybe. And then we later found out that it was kind of insane.
Yeah, no, there's some good options with the Recon thing here. The other thing to note is Vayne is one of the few characters that can still do a lot of true damage. And with the change to the way spells work, that Infinity Edge or 4 Recon is going to be really important, because that's going to allow Vayne's true damage to crit. And so if you want to plow through some of that frontline tankiness, having a Vayne with all that crit is really important here. Vayne also being a duelist, the Yasuo makes a ton of sense. Unfortunately, there's a Talon on the other side, and that Talon is just going to delete the Vayne here. And so there you can see why Talon can be so aggravating in the early game.
Yeah, that's right. You're trying to position for the corner, and then Talon targets the farthest unit from the center, so Talon just immediately jumps. And then he heals upon kill. Just look at how much sustain has been able to get, and Talon still lives.
Disgusting!
This is a 1-cost, you're telling me, Mort?
Look at Bebe's grin at the top of the screen. Look how smug he is about that one.
This is great, because remember I were talking about the hero augments earlier. I love this combination that Bebe has brought out here. It was the Sivir healing augment with Ox Force. Ox Force protects them for a minute, and then the Sivir augment allows them to heal back up and stay alive. And so that's a really cool combination of using that Sivir and the healing in a cool way that you might not normally think about.
Interesting. And well, Bebe's really happy. Mort's really happy. I think the only person unhappy was Emily Wang in that exchange. But well, we digress. 2 players streaking, by the way, Honglian and Padong. I'd love to catch up with them and see what boards they're playing.
Yeah, Padong going for the 100 streak, of course. We know where this is going. If it's on set 7, we're like, okay, it's Dragon's Angle in the later stages of the game. Are we just going to be expecting the legendary soup from these streaking players, Mort?
I think that's the way to go, but I really like this board, by the way. This is 6 Brawler, and so Brawler is now percent-based health. And then my guess is this is the Vi support augment, which gives you another 275 health for your team.
Whoa.
And so that's even more health that scales with the Brawler even more. And then clearly we've seen also early that Jax is very strong with mech. This is a very popular build for the first few days of PBE. This Jax is going to become the mech, very large, and have a ton of health. And the way Jax works is every time he casts a spell, which is every third attack, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so by being the mech, he's got enough survivability here that it's just going to be really hard for everyone to deal with in the early game.
The team did such a good job with all of the flavor in this set, just seeing that giant Jax. That's actually what my Yasuo board lost to, and just every kill I was more and more intimidated. I was shaking in my boots by the end of the round.
That's great. Really intelligent board crafting here from Hong Lian, a former regional and finalist here in championships. As we take a look at Kupo's board and see what's going on over there. Hard to kind of see, but looks like it's a very close fight. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Yumi getting it done, Niberia.
Let's go!
All right, well, looks like we're looking at the board. It's still the Star Guardian, but we have the trade sector. Is reroll Star Guardians a thing, Mort?
Ooh, reroll Star Guardian, I feel like you would really want one of the hero augments to power up Lux or Yumi to really make that work. Kaisa reroll could work, but that's going to be less about Star Guardian and more about recon. So that I'm not a huge fan of this, but we'll see.
Oh, I mean, maybe he can surprise. Maybe there's some tricks up their sleeve, or perhaps maybe he's like Niberian and says, you know what? I don't have that many games. I'm just gonna reroll whatever I can get my hands on.
Early power is king when nobody knows what they're doing.
I don't blame him. But now he's going up against Hong Lian, who has that Jax too, and like you said, Jax puts stacks and is going to continue to put too much pressure. And more importantly, Jax is so tanky because he has all those stats that he's accumulated. When you sacrifice units to the Mech Prime, you also get that bonus HP and attack and ability power. It's just so much stats that you have to overcome. If your board's not ready, you're going to get overrun more.
Yeah, for sure. Jax has been one of the things, like I said, that's been dominating pretty early on. One of the few counters has been that Vayne we talked about earlier. If you can get a Vayne that stacks up with the ramping damage and the true damage, that can do really well against it. But otherwise, it's just got so much health on this particular build that, yeah, it can be really tough to deal with.
All right, let's check in with, at least from the caster's perspective, our protagonist. We're hopping back on board with Bebe as he is transitioning to what looks like to be Talia carry with Shiv and Morello, if I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah, Talia is basically your 4-cost AP, AoE caster, can do a lot of damage. And I like this use of the itemization. Shiv is now much more of an AP item that gives you that magic resist shred. So you're going to have the magic resist shred, you're going to have the Morellos, you've got the Star Guardian. He's really happy that he found the
I gotta check in on this. Hold on.
He just found Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser Skylines, one of the coolest abilities. It drops a building on your opponents and shreds them.
Okay, Bebe, I'm here on the floor with you. Your mouth still agape. How are you feeling about that? First place?
Ease up first, guys. Ease up first. We got this.
All right, so what are you going to be looking for on your roll down, or are you not rolling down?
Rerolls. I don't.
All right, thank you, Bebe.
You asked Bebe if he's going to hit the refresh button. There's a button right next to it that he can also hit.
There's a chance. There's always a chance. New set, new... Oh, what is he doing?
Oh, he's dropping buildings. My God. Well, actually, if you took a look at the other side of the board, there's a 3-item Senna who's going to use her Piercing Darkness to do giant damage, very similar to the callback of Set 6, the Gizmos and Gadgets Senna that was a socialite and was able to put a lot of damage from the back. But this time, more, it seems like she's very much aligned to just be that AD carry at 3 cost.
Yeah, for sure. I think she's actually like the best item holder for your Aphelios in the late game. Okay. So you run that Senna, give him the AD items, run that with Samira to get the 2 sure shot, and then when you hit the Aphelios, you can move those items over.
By the way, I think we saw a cash out from Underground from Padong, who did find a cash out of a single Zephyr. I am thoroughly whelmed, Niberia.
It's truly the most whelming cash out of all time, but he does look like he's going for that Sivir carry composition. Got that early hero augment for her and just full committed.
It's a showcase. We're taking Zephyr more. Can we? Is there a rule against that?
Can we ban it? Is there a button for that yet?
You know, it's interesting now because Zephyr actually gives some passive attack speed. Ooh. It's not the worst slam early now, but yeah, I get it. You know, it's PBE lobbies, those try-hard lobbies. Shroud and Zephyr always, just a little bit of a rat move.
Oh, wait, I think I misread what's going on. Did he pass the Zephyr? I think that's actually what he did. Okay, you know what? My respect for this guy just jumped 10.
Back. We're back.
We're
back in the Padong.
I'm back on the Padong train.
Yeah, and look at those sunglasses, man. How can you not be a fan?
That's right, Cool Cat. Looks like he's happy to lose. Wow, unusual spot. And I think that's what makes Underground pretty interesting, right? You're trying to find this dynamic of losing, but this is also a kind of a heavy loss, Mort.
Yeah, we're at the point now in stage 4 where you've got to be really careful with those losses. Too much health is going to burn, and he's only got 3 Underground in so far, so he's still only getting 3 locks. If he could find that Samira, I almost feel like if he's going to go this Underground, you level up, you find the Samira so that you can go the 5 Underground and get those 5 locks per loss. That's how you're going to get the really big rewards.
Yeah. Hoping we get to see that in maybe a little bit. He's slow leveling at the moment, 26 XP to go, so maybe 4-5? We hope for it.
We will, potentially, but there's some strong players like Hong Lian that's in his matchmaking pool. Going up against Bebe, who has now a Jewel Gauntlet for that Mordekaiser and an Aurelion Soul, so pretty strong backline damage. Can this Sivir get it done fast enough and ramp up? Or will it be another loss? Here comes the Skylines. That building drop, striding the entire team in a perfect line. Bebe dropping the meteors as well, trying to get access to that Sivir. And it looks like his front line is just too strong. It's Korea on Korea action here in the Dragonlance Championship.
I love that we're having Bebe here just like playing for the camera every 3 seconds, just anytime he knows he's on screen.
He's a show, man. He totally knows.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Oh, Urgot and Syndra appearing. I know some of those Stargarden players love Syndra. What an interesting role. She's kind of like a callback to Thresh from Galaxies, pulling units off the bench more.
Yeah, it's interesting because Syndra was one of the first champion designs we had locked in. One of our set designers had the idea of Syndra, using her orbs and pulling people off the bench. And it was just immediately so fun in theory that we're like, we got to make this work, And so the idea being that if you could run like 7 Star Guardian and Syndra, she would just be constantly throwing in threats like Zac. And so that's a lot of fun. And so we're hoping to see some strong endgame Syndra builds.
All right, let's see it. Can Revan pull themselves out, or can, I guess, half of the Spanish player base on the bottom right corner pull themselves out of this bot 4 deficit, Niberia?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the guard breaker picked up there on the Vayne. You and I were discussing this actually.
Yeah,
before
new item.
That might be. No, that is Vayne. It's so new a set, I'm having trouble identifying them. But we were talking, into shield comps, really cool. Into other compositions, I wasn't sure exactly how strong it was.
Yeah, Mort, how do we use things like guard breaker? How do we anticipate the shielding from our opponents, or does that even matter?
I don't think it matters so much. Guard Breaker is more of just a general flex item. It gives you the small amount of AD and AP. Little Mordekaiser bug there. Oops. But the thing to note about Guard Breaker also is that it builds out of a glove item and gives you crit. So if you're going Infinity Edge, using something like Guard Breaker plus Hodge can get you to the 100% crit rate. And so that's what you really want to think about it as, is like an AP crit item, for example.
Can I ask
so
you?
It's really good for those builds.
Can I ask you a really, really nerdy deep tech question?
Yes.
If the missile is on the way while the shield is up on the target Vayne is hitting, does she still get the guard breaker bonus, or is it only if the shield's up once the missile lands?
It's only once the missile lands. As soon as the damage ticks and the damage goes, hey, I was prevented by a shield a little bit, that's when you get the bonus for 3 seconds.
Whoa! Speaking of big bonuses, we have supers trying to... Wait, no, we only have 2 out of 3 supers. I just realized.
No!
Wait, we've been rerolling for 3 stars with supers without supers in, Mort.
Yeah, usually if you want to go a reroll comp, you want to play supers. Supers is going to give you that big 20% damage boost plus another 6% for each 3-star you have. And so you can get that stacking pretty well here. Kai'Sa, like we talked about, Kai'Sa is one of the builds that can do okay against Jax, though typically you want AP items on your Kai'Sa, not AD items, but it's still going to be quite a bit of damage here, and if Rel can tank this Jax, unfortunately Rel just dropped, and it might not be enough, and we're seeing, again, in this build, Jax was really strong. So.
Yeah!
Ooh, still wins it, though.
Yeah, what do you know, Mort? Just a lot more than us, but in this fight, AD Kaisa. I don't actually know. It seemed like it was just Honglian's greeting, right? He has a lot of gold. He's level 8. He's clearly not trying to prioritize the win. If he was able to end on a streak, would be fantastic. All right, here we go. End of 4-7. A different type of PV round coming up. It's called a boss fight.
Yeah, and the boss fights are going to give you anvils. The first one gives you a component once you sell it, and the second one will give you a full item. Now, something I learned that's going to be relevant to a lot of you in the chat right now. If you are a reroll enjoyer, you need a spot on the bench for the anvil. So make sure that you don't have a full bench, or you're going to be really sad and down an item until you hit one of them.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I already have all my 3 stars.
Oh, of course, naturally.
It won't let you open the orb if your bench is full, so you'll still be able to get
True.
your anvil. Nothing.
But we
nothing
want
crazy like
the
that.
dopamine.
Wait, you know what, More? I'm down to make them think about bench management. If they accidentally pick up the anvil, it just gives them the random. It just sells the anvils like, here's a random item or component.
No.
Bort's predicting the Twitter response to that as you say it, and he's having a panic attack.
That's some rough user experience right there. Oh, go the Ginsu's. There you go.
All right, Ginsu's Rage Blade going up against Bebe. Can Bebe put the dagger into Kupo? As looks like Bebe is greeting up as well, 40 gold, so he didn't roll. So this is a good time for Kupo to fight Bebe.
Yeah, really strong front line, going to keep him safe mostly from that Mordekaiser ultimate, and Rel staying so strong, tanking every single unit.
Woo!
And as she gets the increased gargoyle resistances, her ultimate is going to do so much more. Only the Aso left to fire away, but it's too little, too late, and Kupo survives one more.
Baby doesn't have enough gold to really consider leveling, so he might have to roll a little bit more than he wanted to, but there's even bigger things on the horizon here. There's 2 other players streaking, but it's not Honglian, it's not Emily, it's not Bebe, it's Revan from Spain, Sheikah from Japan. It's going to be really interesting to see how this shapes up.
Yeah, meanwhile on Padong's board, this is just, I think we've acquired Legendary Soup. This kind of looks like he found Double Trouble, but worth noting, not one of the augments.
Oh, and it's the windy forecasting weather, or rather, you're going to see this a lot in the streams and YouTube comments. What's the weather? It refers to the variation of Janet for this game. Which one do we have this time, Mort?
Yeah, so this is Windy, and what Windy does is it gives your team AD and AP every 5 seconds that started in that zone. So it's very good for scaling up your team if you can delay the fights. Now, that being said, it kind of has 1-star Legendary Soup, and 1-star Legendary Soup's probably not going to cut it against this Jax for now. But if you can get that into 2 and 3 stars, you're going to be able to tank a lot and then build up. And so, like, we're 25 seconds into the fight. That's 75 AD and AP. That's really strong.
Yeah, well, you know what? We almost got Jax to 80% health, so maybe Padong can start thinking about, like, I need to actually play real damage units instead of just anything that has a golden border.
Yeah, he's looking for it now. He's got 3 gold to work with, selling out his front line at the moment, it looks like.
Oh, no. We got a 1-star Fiddlesticks. Oh, no, we sold the 1-star Fiddlesticks.
Oh, no.
Wait, we're selling everything.
It's getting worse. Okay. That's something. Leona 2-star. Mordekaiser 2. Just pick up something, dude, please. You're giving us an anxiety attack.
Maybe buy the Sivir or something. We're playing, what, 7 out of 9 units? Oh, no. What about our items?
All the items on his bench. He's got to slam something.
Oh, dear. We have, what? Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to quite live this one. This Mordekaiser's going to hit hard, but...
Huge BT heal.
Yeah, does Mordekaiser even hold AP items, or rather carry items? I'm not entirely sure. I think right now, Padong, actually, the
doing okay.
Popping off.
Never mind. Misfortune nearly takes out his carries, but it looks like post Zhonya's Urgot needs one more hit, but will not find it. Sivir, maybe the civilian can save the day from the villainous misfortune.
Oh, Padong just needed to have 1 extra second, and that's a 6th place for Padong.
Team Revan looking real happy about that one, though.
That's true. It's true. Oh, man. All right, so here we go to the Stage 5 carousel. That is, I believe, a Renegade emblem. That is what you used to combine to make Lagoon Spat. You have the spatula plus the glove. But no one's really playing Renegade, so I don't think anyone's going to pick that up. And everyone's avoiding the guard breaker more. I think nobody... It feels like people, for some reason, just don't touch this item.
Yeah, I think, there's still a learning curve, and everyone's playing their familiar favorites. That being said, Bebe here hits the 2-star Mordekaiser and a Aphelios.
Okay.
Aphelios is cool in that you get to pick which gun you want, each gun having sort of a different use. And that gun can really make a big difference. I had a game yesterday where I had to switch from blue to red to make sure I got the win, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bebe's already celebrating. He hit 2-star Fiddlesticks. I don't think AD Fiddlesticks is particularly very strong, but we'll see.
No.
I mean, Fiddlesticks has some pretty strong power if you can itemize him.
Yeah, a lot of people are still figuring out how to play Fiddlesticks as well. My personal favorite is you use his Corrupted trait. You put him in the back line. Every time an ally dies, he gets 20 AP. Ooh. And so by the end of the fight, he can like 1v9 with his incredibly high AP. And then you give him stuff like, Bloodthirster and Gunblade. He can just heal up, cast. And so, you kind of want to have him be the last one alive, basically.
Got it. I think you said Deathblade plus D-Claw is BIS, and you're about to watch this go into action. Look at all of those 100, 200 damage autos popping off. That's not happening at all. Fiddlesticks is actually going to die.
Fiddle, please.
Oh, no, Baby is dead. 80 Fiddlesticks sucks.
Baby, get up on here. Get up on the desk.
Yeah, we need a third caster. Actually, we have more talk. We need a fourth caster here. Oh, man. Revan.
I'm not sure if that microphone's still on, but you can give it a shot.
I had 2 5-cost 2-stars. How did I lose?
More dog? Want to answer that?
Amazing.
Dog said amazing, which means very good.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy.
Oh, man, I can't believe it. We're down to our final 4, by the way. Looks like Revan made quite a big comeback. It looks like he was lose streaking, but this very well-balanced Vayne, and looks like Riven kind of having this dual Anima squad set up here more.
Yeah, so it's got the Anima squad, which is going to give you a ton of health as you stack up that fame as they take those selfies. On the other side, though, I have to call out, we see the Recon Belveth I was talking about earlier, just slapping from a distance. This is my favorite champ in the set.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool thematically. Oh, she's dodging things like abilities as well, but Emily does take a nasty loss. But that's because it's a Belveth 1. I'm sure if she gets Belveth 2, we'll see some big damage. Here comes the second big boss. Now, this one is a full item, Niberia.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of open item slots on carries. You can see Sheikah's Urgot still has that open slot as he's relying on the Samira for the time being. Hopefully this will help him out.
Yeah.
So this is one of the changes I'm really excited about for the competitive space. I think we've seen too often, right, where someone gets a Shroud here while the other person gets a Deathblade. There wasn't really a lot of agency before. But now that you get that choice from 5 items, I think, the skill expression and sort of the fairness of the endgame state is going to be in a much better spot here. So these anvils are a really great addition to TFT.
Is there any, pseudo-random generation going on there? Because I know you were mentioning earlier that Ezreal Hero Augment was not truly random. It worked for whatever unit was next to him?
No, so the anvil really is just 5 randoms of the possible items, so it's just pure random. But that being said, the odds that you get, really Mort Dog with 5 items are pretty low, so...
Oh, is that a Neela 3 that I see?
Whoa, that's amazing.
That is a Neela 3 with not really any items that make sense. Neela's much more tanky support, but it's interesting to see.
I think Revan and his team were just looking at that and going, wait.
She's an AP champ. This is not... What happened? I thought this was the Lagoon Assassin.
I know, right? I mean, the good thing about this set is that if you look at every player, everybody went for a different composition, and they're also very strong. They're also very attractive. I feel like the diversity for this set will actually be one of the best so far, for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely the hope. Again, the skeptic designer in me is always going, well, it's early, we'll wait and see. But this set was very much designed to be sort of that end game flexibility, and there's a lot of different things to do. And like I said, I think the hero augments are still being very much explored here.
Yeah.
What I really like about that build, though, is, again, you're playing the Vayne. You've got some good support with the Misfortune here. On the other side, the mech is starting to fall off here because it's only 2-star. But if we can hit this 3-star Jax, then it's going to be a terror.
I love the dynamic of watching Spain. They're talking to each other. They're laughing. Their commentators right behind him. Looks like Kamadre. Hong Lian's in a studio. An admin is walking. He's sweating. He's not smiling. He's like, where's my Jax as I'm rolling down? You can already tell a little bit of a difference of ideology.
The admin currently looks very disappointed. He's just like,
it's
just
actually
didn't
Hong Lian's
hit,
dad. Just very disappointed in him.
I mean, the Chinese community actually has a lot of supporters behind them, but I guess they're just not showing on the camera. I mean, the European like a team's
That's true. I heard there's some people in China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
At least
Wait.
5.
Yeah. Dude, the Jax still getting it done. This Belveth almost dying.
Good dodge.
Able to dodge just a little bit, but not enough DPS. Oh no, Emily Wang. Top 4 is not bad though, Mort.
Yeah, top 4 for sure. And, you know, I think this, like I said, was a build where Belveth needed a little bit of some fixing. But overall, that's why it's so fun. Sells everything. He's going to 5 mech here. 5 mech is interesting in that it starts to buff the support units, not the other mechs. So it's not like your primary mech gets that much stronger. But now with the Leona, this Leona can do that true damage laser and take down some really good frontliners here. Leona also really good with healing because they do so much damage.
Oh, yes.
Oh, we're gonna see Leona ult here first. I actually don't know what Leona does, but I'm really excited. I hear it's just like a Lee Sin and like Urgot.
It's a new ability called
big
Dos
laser.
Machina. Does true damage until it dies. Look at all that DPS to that front line. You know, just evaporated, Mort.
Oh my god!
Yeah, like I said, Leona is definitely the call down the orbital laser and destroy you. So if you have some really strong frontliners you need to take care of, Leona's going to be very good there.
Oh, Jax has to finish it off, but it's only a 2-star Jax. Does end up killing
That
the
is
Neela.
not a 2-star Jax. That is a super Mekarinu Jax going in there.
Oh my gosh, Revan takes a 3rd. And maybe a preview for today, but it could be Japan versus China to take it all. Let's see what happens on the Stage 6 carousel.
Honlian gonna have to figure out what items he wants. I like the Shroud pickup. Already itemized your carries. Trying to stop him.
Try hard.
Really?
Look,
Yes, baby
try hard,
knows,
try
baby.
hard.
What? He's clearly tryharding this whole game, guys. We gotta cast for the game we have, not the game we want.
Oh, I'm really interested to see how this Urgot's gonna fight. I wonder what his like a DPS output is.
Yeah, the Urgot does a lot of damage. These aren't really great items for the Urgot, but if you can get the Cephalios, like I said, 2 Sure Shot is really good here. Samira with that ace. I do also like the 3 Aegis here. That's going to give his team a lot of magic resist to try to stop the Jax. This Samira can deal with the Jax if you get the right thing. Also using the purple gun of Aphelios, that's going to be an AoE stun. And so hopefully that can slow down the Jax as well.
Wow. Blue buff Quicksilver Urgot. This reminds me of Set like 3.
Yeah. Only still stuck on Jax too, trying to work. Oh no, Urgot got jumped by the Jax! Oh, no. That's going to be really difficult, and Jax is not going to go down easily. And so Jax is going to eliminate the Urgot. That's half the DPS, but nobody's checking Samira. Wait, it's all just Jax versus the world, and that's the 2-star Jax. That is a dead Jax.
Wait, Japan's gonna win. I say anything?
No spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilery, no.
We just wrote the script this morning, baby.
Oh,
right at the top of it, it
Helios
said no
2.
spoilers.
That's really big. Does this swing the matchup more?
I think so, and like I said, 2-star Aphelios here is good. I like the choice of purple gun.
Jax!
Oh, he doesn't have enough gold!
Okay, cells.
Sold his board.
Cells. We can play like what? Put a throw on the board. That's what they're designed for. Oh, Sejuani. Sejuani not bad. Just using that cryo grenade to stall. Ooh. Okay, now surely this will be a crazy fight. Jax 3 versus Aphelios 2.
I mean, this is gonna be the ultimate form of Jax carry that there can be. Holding on, a fantastic Chinese player leading the gigantic mech. It grows and it fights. Let's go.
Here comes the ultimate. The orbital laser rains down from Leona onto the front line, and Jax uncontested but stalled by the Ox Force. And look at Samira. Look at the Urgot. Uncontested, unbent, unbroken. And they will take the lobby. Shikame Maruka, first place.
Okay, I'm not playing Jax.
Even for a top 2, that wasn't too bad, I thought. What was the real key to victory from that fight that you watched?